And welcome to Fundamentals 2, Lower Body Stretch. Now just because these are quote-unquote Fundamentals 2 stretches doesn't mean that Fundamentals 1 lower body stretches are no longer good for you. It's just a different spin on the same area. The main difference is these Fundamentals 2 stretches do require just a little bit more body awareness, but there's still some really great ones in Fundamentals 1. So play around with which ones you prefer. Everyone's body likes different stretches. They hit different areas that really target some tight spots on you. So do try to make these individualized. And what I'm doing is I'm basically giving you a toolbox of potential stretches that you can use. But the first one that we're going to do today is a seated glute and then taking it into a glute twist. I'm going to show you a couple of options. First one is to have the leg extended. So we're going to go left leg extended, sitting up nice and tall, cross the right knee over top, and you're going to wrap the elbow, left elbow right around that right knee, and you're going to hug that knee towards the opposite shoulder. So we've got right knee bent, up and over, extended left leg, left arm hugging that knee, staying nice and tall through the spine. Where I'm feeling this stretch is in through the glute of the right hip. And we're going to hold for probably about another 10 to 15 seconds. We're aiming to hold these stretches. I'm doing the bare minimum today, which is about 30 seconds. I encourage you to, if you have your computer or your tablet or your phone, whatever you're watching these on, press pause before I go into the next one and hold it for a good minute if you have the time, even 2 minutes if you find a spot that feels particularly good or particularly tight. Now what I want you to do is to take that right hand, bring it behind your back, lift up gently, and cross the left hand across the knee. So we're going to take that into a bit of a twist. Feel free to look back over the right shoulder. And now the movement comes away from this glute a little bit, and it's more of a spine twist. So it is a lower body stretch still, but as well into a spine twist. So in a second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to modify those stretches and make it just a little bit more intense, and we're going to repeat that again, probably only holding for about 20 seconds, but again, I'm going to encourage you to hold it longer so you can see if you're ready for the next level. So for some people, if they find that they're a little bit more advanced, we're same leg, but what you can do is you tuck the bottom leg underneath, pull that heel nice and close to the hip, and again, we're repeating, sitting nice and tall. And now what's happening is you're getting a little bit of a mount stretching through the bottom leg as well, so it's kind of like a double whammy. Some people, if you're tight in the hips, aren't going to find this comfortable, in which case you're going back to the extended leg I initially showed you. And then you can take the same movement, lifting into the twist, and pushing into that twist position. So again, option extended leg with the bottom leg, or tucked under like I am doing. So untwist yourself from that pretzel, and we're going to go to the opposite side. So right leg is going to be extended, left leg crosses up and over. Sit nice and tall, make sure both of those sit bones are on the ground. Right arm, using the elbow, hugs around that knee, lift up nice and tall, squeeze that knee towards the opposite shoulder, and you're going to be holding. And we're aiming to feel the stretch. I'm just going to twist around this side so you can see, stretch through this hip right here. Again, you're making sure that both sit bones, so the bones right underneath the butt, are anchored to the ground, so you're not twisting off the ground. Good. Okay, hold that a little bit longer. Trying to stay nice and tall through the spine. And in a second, we're just going to take the right hand, twist it across the knee, lift tall first, and then gently twist, and you're looking over that back arm. Now, some of you are going to twist further than me. Some of you aren't going to twist quite as far. Go to your own level. Hopefully you're understanding the cues that I'm giving you, but you go to what feels comfortable in your body. And of course the variation, if you want to jump right to it, is to tuck that bottom right leg underneath your body. So I'll show that variation in about 10 seconds. As you're doing this spine twist, if you think about lifting taller on every inhale and exhale, just trying to relax deeper into the stretch. You don't necessarily have to go further, but imagine that your muscles are relaxing into the stretch. So just a quick option, if you just want to try, you're tucking that bottom leg under, replant those sit bones, because quite often when you tuck that bottom leg under you, the sit bones come off. which you don't want. So there's the option there, making it a little bit more advanced. Just do what feels right for you, and then lift and twist again one more time. So that was the glute and spine twist with the lower body leg tuck under option. So next we're going to go into something called, this can be done, it's called a couch stretch because it can be done on a couch, or in this case, since I don't have a couch up here in my little mini gym, I'm doing it with the mat up against the wall. So if you can visualize, quickly show you what I mean by doing this on a couch. I actually do prefer it on a couch, but again, you have to go with what's convenient with where you're at. So visualize this being a couch, nice soft cushion here, and the couch stretch, what you do is you put the knee up in this position and the opposite leg hangs down, and then you can either pop this bottom leg up onto the couch or leave it down like I am. So that's option one if you are doing this where you can find a couch. I do like that one a lot. Or if you're doing it up against a wall like I am, then you're getting the bottom knee as close to the wall as possible or as close to the edge of the couch as possible. And then you're lifting up. And what we're doing is we're finding a really nice deep stretch in through that quad and hip flexor. And we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Again, going to your own comfortable level. So this is the advancement from in Fundamentals 1. We did the line quad stretch using the wall again to push the heel. But this just puts us in a little deeper stretch. Still trying to make sure we're into neutral spine. And holding. Focus on the breathing. Easy inhale and long exhale. Very good. And we're going to hold for about 10 more seconds. Feeling the muscles relax into the stretch. Don't over push on a scale of 1 to 10. You're pushing somewhere between a 3 to a 5. If you're new in the stretch, I would stick more with a 3 until you've done it a few times, making sure the body responds positively. Switch to the other side. Sometimes what can happen is it feels good at the time if it's the first time you've tried a stretch, and especially if you're nice and warm. So we switch over to the other side. Knee is really close to that wall. Heel comes close to the glute, and you're lifting up nice and tall. So as I was saying, sometimes what happens, especially if you're doing a stretch for the first time and your body's really warm, is it feels really good at the time. So you push yourself a little bit further, and to push yourself, say at that 5, maybe even 6, actually feels pretty good. So that 5, 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. But since it's new to your body, you don't know how you respond, then you end up with a little tiny tweak the following day. So if it's the first time you're doing a stretch ever, what I always recommend is stay to the lower end, maybe 3, just 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. So you feel the stretch, you're in total control, and you're not bordering on any sort of discomfort. And that way it's a safe way to ease into it. Once you've done that about 2 or 3 times, and the body responds positively over the next couple of days, then maybe you can try pushing just a little bit further. And about 5 more seconds. Great. Okay, next we're going to go into a groin stretch. I'm going to show you 2 options. Number 1 is to slide your bum right up against the wall. Put your feet up against the wall, and then let the legs splay open. So here you're letting gravity do the work, and you're letting the legs just open to where you're comfortable. Now there's a huge variation, especially discrepancy between men and women on this. A lot of guys, that may be, or some women too, a lot of guys, this is the range of motion. So don't feel that you have to get the same range that I do. I'm not pushing here, I'm just letting gravity relax my legs into this. Also, the neat thing about doing it up against the wall is you can see if there's any one-sided tightness, one side or the other. Sometimes I do see, for example, that one person will find that they're quite tight on one side and they've got a little bit of discrepancy from side to side. So that's a good way to assess whether you are tight. If you are tight on one side, what I would do is if it feels comfortable, if say this is my tight side, just apply a little bit of extra pressure to the tighter side if the body tolerates it. Again, scale of 1 to 10, only aiming for that 3. It doesn't mean that you could push the leg further, but you're just adding a little tiny extra resistance. not pushing beyond the 3 on that 1 to 10 scale until you've done it a few times. So there's option number 1. It's a good little warm-up. Option number 2 is to do it from a seated position. So it's sometimes even nice to do a little bit of a warm-up like I did there, and you can tell how far the body it allows you to go. Now from here, depending on what your flexibility is, you can walk your hands out. Some people who are doing a stretch might have their chest right down on the ground, go for it. Or you might be, this is about where you're at. From here, your option is, once you've gone as far forward as you feel comfortable, planting both sit bones on the ground, you can walk over to one side and reach down, and now the stretch moves both into the adductor on the one side and into the QL or quadratus lumborum low back area on the other side, again making sure that you're planting both butt cheeks, and then slowly walking over the other side. Now the difference between the adductor, or this is the groin, fancy word, adductor, it's the anatomical name, for the area, the difference between what we did in Fundamentals 1 and Fundamentals 2, these are the long adductors that we're working. So you've got long adductors and short adductors. The Buddha stretch, or the diamond stretch, with your back up against the wall and legs bent, that stretches the short adductors. So we're aiming for the long adductors here. It's good to do both, very important, especially if you're in any type of sport that requires flexibility and or strength in that area. So pretty much anything with any lateral movement or skating, that hits all of those sports for sure. Okay, so we've done the adductors, the hip flexors, we've done the glutes, and now we're going to do a hamstring variation. So we're going to do it with a robe tie. So I've got a trusty robe tie, or you can do a fancy yoga strap if you want. You're going to loop that around one foot. Now I'm going to show this with bottom leg bent initially to start. More advanced is to extend that bottom leg. So go with what feels comfortable. And here I'm going to bring the top leg towards me as far as I feel comfortable. Relax the shoulders, extend the bottom leg. Now again, there's going to be a huge discrepancy between how far that leg is towards you. Some people are going to be here and you're going to be feeling quite a bit of stretch. Stop there, that's fine. If you can go further and have the knee almost kissing the nose, that's great too. What I do want you to focus on is not just getting a stretch through here, but if you're tight like me in the hip flexors, I want you to imagine that this bottom leg is as heavy as possible. You've got this huge 45-pound weight bearing you down, and getting a kind of a passive stretch in that bottom hip flexor. Making sure as well the bottom leg isn't winging out to the side, it's right in line with the hip. Now what I want you to do is to get a good grasp on that, the rope tie. Plant the opposite hand out to the side. So in this case I've got right leg, right arm holding, and you're gently going to let that leg drop out to the side. Thinking still nice and long through that extended leg, getting a little bit of a passive stretch to that hip flexor. Now if you're finding that you've got more flexibility and you want to get rid of the yoga strap and hold on to that foot with your hand, you may do so, or stay exactly where I am here. Or of course, if your range isn't as deep as mine, that's okay too. And we're going to hold for about 10 more seconds. And slowly bring it up to the other side. Switch hands. Right hand plants to give you some base of support. I'm going to just anchor my hand a little bit deeper in that yoga strap, and I'm going to let the leg come across the body. So now again I'm getting a nice stretch in through the low back, maybe a little bit through the glute, and just hitting that hamstring slightly different. So this is a three-way hamstring with the yoga strap or rope tie. Again, if you're not having to worry about cueing, your focus should be on breathing nice and deep. Good deep inhale, but mostly long, long, relaxed exhale. And bend the knee slightly and slowly come back to center. Now we're going to switch it over to the other side. So left leg is going to loop into that rope tie. It extends up towards the sky, slight bend or straight if you feel comfortable. I'm getting a good grip, so I'm holding left hand, right hand goes out to anchor. Or in this point, because it's the first stretch, if you just want to have both hands and you're gently pulling towards your face. Again, if it's the first time you've ever done this stretch, scale of 1 to 10, I only want you pulling to about a 3. If you've done this stretch several times and you know that it feels okay to your body, you can push to about a 4 or 5. There are some different philosophies on stretching that will suggest that you either push far lighter than I'm suggesting or far more intensely than I'm suggesting, and it kind of depends on what your goals are. So what I would say is just stay within that comfortable range of about 3 is probably the safest bet. If you have maybe more performance type goals, you might want to feel comfortable pushing a little bit further, but again, go with what historically works well for your body. Okay, and then right hand plants out to the side, left leg opens as far as you feel comfortable. If you want to, you're focusing on an imaginary super heavy lower leg, little bit of a, say, a 45-pound plate pushing down on that thigh. Think you're reaching long out of this hip. Double check, is your bottom leg right in line with that support leg, or the hip, I should say. And breathe deeply. 3 deep breaths here. One more. And come back over to the other side. Switch hands, get a nice firm grip. Left hand goes out towards the side, and you're taking the rope across the body. Left palm is facing up, and you're getting a really nice twist through the body, getting a stretch in through the glute, in through the hamstring a little bit as well. So there are tons of other lower body stretches that we can do, and I'll keep on introducing them as we move forward. If you want more variety, I can keep on giving you all sorts of new variety. If you find a series of stretches that you like and that you're comfortable with, feel free to stay with them. You don't have to do variety. Everybody, is got their own comfort zone of what they like. Some people like variety. Some people like to stick with the basics that they're comfortable with and repeat over and over, and that's fine too. The important thing is that you are stretching regularly, both upper, lower body, and then hopefully you're trying some of the active release workouts that I'm putting on these websites too. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time for the next video.